Today is February 12th and I have something super exciting and very unexpected to share with you. Colleen blindsided me completely. She had a friend at work who has a boyfriend whose daughter had a bunch of dolls in the attic and he was going to throw them out, but Colleen's friend Kathy knows we collect dolls, and so she was like, no, don't throw them out. And she brought them in to school for Colleen today, and I had no idea why I was picking Colleen up in the spot I was, but I was very confused when I saw her and her friend, and then they pulled out this box, and so there's this case, and then there's this really big file box labeled Barbies and clothes, and they smell a little musty. I have only seen like 5 seconds of these dolls because Colleen's friend lifted the lid and I saw a magic carpet gift set Aladdin who looked amazing. So I'm very, very, very excited. Colleen is at work, and because it's Wednesday, we wouldn't have time to sit and go through this together because of the lighting, and she gets home really late. We would have to wait until Saturday, and both of us are way too curious about what's inside. So apparently there's a lot of clothes. I'm very excited. I'm super grateful that Colleen's friend thought of us and brought these in. And I'm also just really glad for the dolls that they didn't get thrown out. It's amazing how many people just want to throw things out when they don't feel like dealing with it. And I mean, my dad used to be that way sometimes. Like if we were in a rush to clean the basement, he would just like throw stuff out that was perfectly donatable. I definitely am glad that these dolls got saved, and so we can go through them together, and Colleen and I will probably clean them up because she has vacation coming this week. Oh, no way! Oh, this is Dee Dee. The other version, the second edition. Yes! Oh, and then there's this Classics Bow. And I saw this Aladdin. He's beautiful. And this is Jasmine, who's very tangled. She has her outfit. She looks like she's got some balding, but I think she should clean it up nice. Ooh, and then this very handsome Classics Aladdin, who is the first, release. He is like our doll named Bradley. He's got the pixie dust on his vest. We've got a classic Snow White with saran hair. Hawaiian Fun Barbie. I don't think she's Malaysia. No, she's another China one. Ooh, and this looks like another Hawaiian Fun Skipper whose head needs to be fixed. And, poor cut and style Barbie with really butchered hair. Rollerblade Barbie. Does Colleen have this? Is this one of the Sharon sisters? I think this is one of the second edition Sharon sisters. I'm not sure who this Fabulous Ken is, but this is definitely not his outfit. This poor Barbie has hair that's been cut. So does this Barbie. A lot of familiar faces. Yeah, that must have been second edition Sharon sisters. We got them in the fall, and it looks like we'll have another set. Oh yes, an 80s lady. Oh, she's missing her arm. This is Magic Moves Barbie. Ooh, Paint and Dazzle Barbie. Tycho Eric. Wow, these dolls are rough, man. His leg is off. Another Barbie with really cut hair. These were very played with. This is Gymnast Barbie. Oh, another Jewel Secrets Ken, and looks like his legs came off. Tootsie doll. Whoa, this is an old one. This is a bubble cut. Very handsome Ken doll. Very loosey-goosey Barbie. A lot of these have haircuts, but that's okay. You know, body donors are useful. This is, I think this is actually this doll's outfit. School Spirit Barbie, I think. Wow, there's a lot of clothes in here. So many clothes. I'm seeing a gross hairpiece. And then, I think these are all just clothes too. Yes, these are all just clothes. Ooh, some of these are older. Like this is a clone up. It says made in Japan, but oh, this is an old wig. Found Magic Moves Barbie's arm. Oh, this poor vintage Barbie. I don't know where her body is. Looks like Hawaiian Fun Skipper has her swimsuit. Somebody's leg. Town Dog Skipper. Oh, this is Hollywood Hair Skipper. I wonder where her body went. There's her body. It's just it just fell apart, so I'll have to reconnect the ball, but her neck's not actually broken. This is another wig. Western Fun Barbies. Wonder if that's nicer than my dolls. Yeah, there's a lot of these hair things. I wonder if there was like a vintage doll. Oh, this is Colleen does not have this piece to Town Dogs, and this is old too. This is Tammy, I believe. Yep. Yay, my Tammy has some clothes. Yeah, this is an interesting mix. This is a lot of 80s, like late 80s, early 90s, and random vintage pieces. Oh, I know what this is too. This, I forget the name of the doll, but she sold it before. Snow White's piece. Well, at least Snow White has her clothes, because I don't have anything spare for Snow White's to wear. Some of it's really nice. Oh, I wonder if that's, Glitter Beach Ken. Wonder if these are his shorts. Oh, I found it. Oh, it's one of those midges! It's one of those hair flare midges, or whatever they're called, from the 60s. Oh, I wish I had her body. I think I might have a vintage body in storage. It's probably not quite that old, but I think I have something she can go on. Oh my god. I've wanted one of these midges forever. I mean, I wanted like one of the regular midges from that era forever, but she's awesome. This is amazing. Okay, what was that about? Oh, Colleen's gonna be so excited. This is Skipper's. So it's Saturday.
Hello!
And as I stated when I was going through the box, I was going to wait for Colleen. And part of what I did in my free time on Thursday and Friday was I tried to identify, you can see there's a bunch of clothes in the laundry tub that need to be further sorted, but I tried to identify as much as possible because there were quite a few things from the 1960s in here. And you know, there's also Tammy made by Ideal, so I had to be really thorough to make sure that nothing that like was very old and special got thrown out by mistake or donated, because I don't hold on to a lot of clone clothes. If there's something really nice that I can envision myself using, I will definitely hold on to it, but I mean, there was just a lot of filler. There was like about a pretty full bag of trash and then a pretty full bag of like donate clothes, so it was a lot of filler items, but that is overflowing with clothing.
And most people have enough of their outfits.
Yeah, so what we're doing right now is we're gonna work on inventorying them. So what I'm doing is the dolls that are duplicates are who we're starting with, and we're kind of doing it in categories. So we're starting with Disney. I have my inventory open on the computer. Colleen's got the written one so she can fix the duplicated numbers. And I'm going to be writing an official list for the dolls we didn't previously have, because I have like info on their bodies, their country makes, what they're missing, who is in their line for Flickr. That's really important for my Flickr guide, and it's easy to write it all out ahead of time. And those are the body donors. There were 5 casualties. And by casualties, I mean literally hair was like bald and cut, and they were all dolls we already had multiples of, so there was no sense in like rerouting.
But the good news is one of these bodies is what we've been looking for our Earring Magic Midge.
So everyone's been inventoried. I have this list of all of the fashion pack pieces I identified. They're already inventoried and stuff, but once we wash everything, then I can see what we're missing, and I've left little spaces for that. I just find it easy to write the fashion packs that way too. It makes it much easier when I upload. And then these are the dolls, and I try to group everything together so we have like Barbie's friends. We're currently sorting the laundry because there are a lot of 60s Barbie and Tammy pieces, and you don't want to have the reds bleed, so that's what Colleen's doing. She's making different piles by color. With more modern clothes, you don't typically have to do this, especially if you use color catchers, which I highly recommend. I never do laundry without them. So we've got the laundry tub going, and I'm getting these plastic pieces ready. Some of them need to be scrubbed, I think, afterwards. But because some of these things are really grubby because they're from the 60s, I have a scoop of baking soda, and I like to add some baking soda in to soak pieces once in a while. If they're not like super grubby, you don't need to do that because it can kind of be a pain because you have to rinse them a bit more thoroughly, but it does help get some of the grime out. So we weren't able to finish this yesterday. So what ended up happening was because we had errands and things to do, we took care of the clothes and they were a long process. Now that it's Sunday, we have some time and I'm soaking some of the dolls and then we're gonna get on to cleaning them.
So here's the clip of us cleaning the dolls. Usually I wash their bodies with baking soda and dish soap and then I kind of hand them off to Colleen to start their hair. I'm a lot quicker at combing hair than her, so I end up helping towards the end. But we did try to soak some of these dolls because they were old and musty, but obviously there were so many that the sink was kind of overflowing. But I was surprised to not have found any molds or mildew on them because of how they were previously stored. And I also cleaned the broken dolls and their parts before I attempted to fix them. I think it's always good to consider, like, when something's broken, whether you should clean it first or after, and I wanted these pieces to be clean before I put them together. Kind of like in one of my old videos when I had my American Girl Lindsay apart because I needed to restring her, I thought, oh, that's a good time to do her stain removal treatment because she had mold stains all over her, so that's always something to take into consideration. And then the inside of Skipper's head was really gross for some reason, so I took this straw cleaner that I use for the pets, not for us, and I cleaned the inside of her head with that, and I also jammed the toothbrush in because it was covered in this black gross stuff. So now onto the boil wash segment. I had 3 bowls out, you'll see I'll add one in a minute, and I usually group them by hair type, as I've said many times before, because saran hair needs to sit longer. And also you can see, like, I have some of the body parts because I needed to get Ken's leg soft to reattach it, and I needed to get the broken knob out of Eric's, which I had a lot of trouble with. I actually had to reheat it after this clip. So you can see Ken gave me some trouble. His leg literally fell off a million times, and then his good leg fell off. He's just really loose. But I did manage to fix him, and I did manage to get the little knob out of Eric's leg. And then in this clip, you can see I'm getting the balls out of the Skipper dolls. If you hear rattling, that means that they were either rebodied, like say they're on a body and there's rattling, or like the neck knob broke off. So I just use little curved pliers to get in there, and it's best when the head is super, super soft. Like, you'll know it's super stretchy, and it'll be a lot easier than trying to do it when it's cold. And then I'm using some baby oil to lube up the joint on Hawaiian Fun Skipper's neck, and the joint itself was dirty, which was gross, so I had to just pop it back in. The Hollywood hair actually had some damage, so I needed to patch it first, but I got the ball out for later. And then I'm just boil washing more in this clip, and you can see that Mirroring Magic Midge is an old doll, and she got a new body, and so did Abby, who is Florida Vacation Teresa, so they just kind of came up to join these dolls for their new body swaps.
Monday, sometime in the morning, 9:30 a.m. I already had to charge my camera because I started taking some pictures to kill off the battery the rest of the way. I do that because I like my battery to totally die before I charge it, because that's why my camera still holds the same charge it did 7 years ago. So I have things laid out. These are clothes that we already have, that were already photographed, things like that, that basically don't need to be photographed anymore. That backdrop can get put away, actually. That needed repair. These are the dolls. They've all been cleaned, so these ones in the back are all set. They just need, like, things repaired and to get dressed.
But notice a lot of people are back on their bodies.
These dolls all are getting additional hair treatments. Tammy and Abby are old. Abby got a new body from this lot, and Tammy, obviously, she's got clothes. But she's from the Oldie Moldies lot, which, by the way, we were just talking about it last night, and that was one of our favorite lots of all time, and we just, the thought of it makes me so excited. This is the front of that case that the dolls came in. The case was actually in really bad shape. It was, like, falling apart, and you know, I've tried donating them before and I got like yelled at the Salvation Army, even though like the cases I tried donating were pretty like in decent shape. So I couldn't donate it because I just got yelled at again. So what I do is I just like take the box art off if it's not like a usable case anymore or if it's pretty damaged, because we don't use the cases for anything and the inside was totally trashed. So that'll make good box art. I have to clean it a bit better. So then obviously the 2 dolls who need bodies, those are some old dolls. Like Midge got a body. Colleen has a list of things she needs to get from downstairs. So duplicates in terms of dolls. Clothing, bags we'll need for putting new stuff away. And for photos, and then I have my list over here that I've been working on filling out of like, as I'm photographing clothes, what I'm missing, so I can put that on my Flickr guide. So it's pretty crazy, and yeah, that's kind of part of the oh, and then these are things I started bagging that need to be labeled. These are things that are photographed that need to be bagged.
Here's just a small clip of me writing labels for the bags where we store doll clothes, and then you'll see me putting the labels on the bags. Having a list written out for Flickr actually helped in the label making process. I did run out of bags at some point, so we had to go to Walmart later that day because I don't like to use bags that are too big for the clothes because then they take up more space in storage, and I have a lot of doll clothes, like a lot. So here I am sticking the labels on, and this system has worked really well for years for me.
I have my like 2 Barbie organizer things where I keep missing shoes. I also have a drawer where I keep large things like Ken shoes and boots and things. But you can see it's all labeled. I actually labeled this in one of my first episodes of Dolly Transformations in like the fall of 2016. So I'm just gonna like go through and see if I have any mates, because out of all of the shoes, we got a lot of pairs. I think I counted like between 20 and 30 pairs of shoes. These were the only ones that didn't have mates.
So this part's going to look kind of crazy because you'll see me pulling out shoes that look like they match, but then I put them back in the missing thing, and that's because Barbie pumps can have different country makes, and so I try to keep them mated by country make, even if the numbers stamped in them aren't sequential or if the writing is slightly bigger on one, just because, I don't know, I feel like they match better when they're the same country make because that can affect their coloring. So this was my first time trying this. I bought some fabric paint because Rollerblade Barbie's outfit peeled, and it was like a white faux leather, and then the peeling left it to be sheer. So I thought I'd get some fabric paint and see how it worked, and I just sort of painted it on. Don't have it dry on newspaper. I learned that the hard way. Some of the words came off on it. Luckily, I caught it while it was still wet, and I was able to peel it off and paint over it. So have it dry on like plastic bags or foil or parchment paper even, but it made a huge difference, and I'm definitely going to do this in the future. I was only able to get this one color because Walmart's section of fabric paint was pretty empty, but I figured I'd get the most mileage out of white because I have a lot of leather things that lost their white leather. So here is the rerouting section. A lot of times I like to reroute in the evening on weekends when Colleen and I are watching like movies or things because it's just a good way to pass the time. So I'm preparing the hair for my Squirrel Ponytail. It's so funny because I had bought this red hair that's meant to match vintage dolls for Colleen's vintage straight leg skipper, who she's had for years, who's just really bald, and we finally decided, you know what, let's reroute her. I hadn't yet started Skipper, but I had the hair and I knew I was going to have plenty left over, and it turns out that this Swirl Ponytail was a redhead. I mean, she was going to get red hair anyways because that's what I had, and I didn't want to be wasteful, but I think it was so meant to be, and she was pretty easy to reroute. The only problem is that her holes were split in a lot of places, so I had to spend time trying to fill them in and make sure the knots under her hair were big enough so they didn't pull through. So it took me about, I want to say 2.5 to 3 hours to reroute her, and she didn't have hair in the whole inside of her head. It was all around the perimeter and on the front where her swoosh is, which is really interesting, but I didn't want to add more because I wanted to recreate her original style, and too much hair would make it too bulky.
So when we're washing the Katniss dolls, we also have these old Barbies that I've obviously already had. Most of these are childhood dolls that just need some TLC because I saw that their hair needed a little bit of work when I was going through my containers, checking inventory, and putting potpourri sachets in there. So that's what we're doing, and Katniss's stuff is soaking.
So on Tuesday morning, I set out to repair the dolls who had obviously mass body carnage. So in this first clip, I am patching Skipper's neck chip, which I didn't initially notice while I was going through the dolls, but I'm just using some acrylic filler. I have tutorials on pretty much everything in this video, which is why I'm not going into a lot of detail. I've been adding iCards into all my videos now, so you can find the link to the tips and tutorials playlist somewhere in this video, usually in the middle while I'm doing stuff. And I'm also going to be repairing Ken and Magic Moves Barbie, or should I say Eric and Magic Moves Barbie, in this clip as well, because they needed some heavy-duty glue. But the neck patch was the easier one to do because I've done it a lot, and it's a pretty easy material to work with. So for Eric and Magic Moves Barbie, I decided to use epoxy glue, a 2-part epoxy, which is basically like a resin, and I've gotten into the habit of using this on leg repairs especially because super glue tends to lose its hold over time. I used it on one of my PJs and it worked really well, so it's kind of what I'm using now. You just have to let it kind of cure for a few minutes so it's sticky because the pieces won't automatically stick together like they do for super glue. And with Magic Moves Barbie, I've never repaired an arm, and honestly, at this point that I'm recording this, I'm not sure how it worked out, but I could see where her little knob had broken off, so I was hoping that by putting some glue there, it would be able to move like it would have before it broke. And I'm using the acetone to clean up the glue because I don't want it getting into the crevices, so then her arm will lock up.
Okay, so this is one of my hacks. Now, these dolls, for the most part, have really nice hair, like you can see Skipper's. However, because this kid was probably an aggressive hairbrusher like I was as a child, due to a lot of the balding, and also the split ends, that's an indication, that really affects, like these little short bits you can see here, really affect the overall shininess of hair. And something I did, like, probably 6 years ago when I was partially rerouting some of my childhood dolls. I really wanted to keep, if they had like decent hair, just not a lot of it, I wanted to partially reroute them because it was like cheaper that way, and I always try to do my best to like save the dolls' original components because you can't like reroute every doll anyways. I spent probably like a good hour or two doing this on my childhood Hawaiian Fun Barbie, and it made such a difference. So I'm like kind of twisting the hair and lifting up the short bits, and then I'm gonna bring them to like the front of the hairline, and this is where you have to be really careful. I have steady hands, but if you don't,
I'd be shaking and cutting into the doll's face. And you want to get
like as close to the scalp as possible and cut them off. Now the doll's not going to lose thickness or anything like that. You're actually, when you take photos and things, or a doll is in direct light, the little broken short bits are going to reflect the light and it's going to take off away from the shininess. So by doing this, you are actually making the overall appearance of the hair look nicer and fuller because you're removing the damaged portions. Now if the hair is like, say on her, she doesn't have this problem, but sometimes like the doll will actually have split ends. You only will see this on saran hair because it's very thick, or like nylon, not on Connectlon, but the hair will actually like fork out. You can just kind of bend the hair, find the little forked areas and like trim them off so you can keep the length if it's like pretty far down. And that makes a difference. I did that on my Frostin' doll before I rerouted her, and my Water Jewel Magic Jasmine. I do this all the time, and it makes like a world of difference. I had to do it on several of the dolls from this lot, and you just go around and you just do that, being mindful not to cut the good hair. And you'll usually end up with, you know, a little bit of a handful, not too thick, but you won't even be able to tell that the doll lost hair because you're just taking away the broken hair. But you can see Skipper. Skipper has a lot, but what's long on her hair is really nice still. So I'm going to go around and do this. It's easier when she's on her body. But so I finished doing this to Skipper's hair. You can also use little clips to hold like bangs out of the way. I'm going to keep this in when I boil wash her to kind of reset them. And this is all the hair that I ended up trimming out from all around the perimeter. You don't really need to do like obviously the layers because they're covered, but around the hairline is actually where most of the splits happen, and when you put the doll's hair up, you'll see it in the back, and I just think while you're at it, you might as well do the whole hairline.
Be one of my transformation videos without some old dolls being blended in because I'm always maintaining them too. My new Tycho Eric had some bald patches on his paint, and I thought it would really help his appearance and give him more of like a youthful glow if I fixed that up. And while I was at it, I had my Eric and Max skipped set Eric and our childhood water jewel magic Aladdin up for the same thing. Now, they had already been repainted, but I had used a different kind of sealer on them that had gone sticky with age, so I wiped that off with isopropyl alcohol. That's how you can remove any sort of paint that you've added, and even with its sealer being on it. And then I just decided to add more black paint and better sealer, and they're still really glossy, but they're not sticky anymore, which is nice. And I was really surprised by how many years this took off of Tycho Eric. He looked phenomenal after, and I blended it in with all of his good paint too, just because with the black hair I find it's better if you kind of repaint most of the surface area rather than just a few select parts. And my Swirl Ponytail needed some work because she was missing most of her eyebrows, and some of her eyelid was chipped, so I went in and I touched up those as well as on my bubble cut. And her eyebrows, like, I used pastel for, so it had a softer look. They did turn out a bit redder than her original ones, but I didn't really have much color comparison to go by because hers were so faded and so gone. But considering, I think she turned out pretty well. I'm happy with the results.
Okay, so because Midgey and Swirl do not have bodies, obviously Midge didn't come with one. We didn't have any old enough in storage, and I don't know, they just, really old dolls have a whole different like skin tone and like quality to their vinyl. So I didn't want to put them on more modern bodies, so I looked on eBay and I actually found this listing like the night we got the dolls, but it didn't end until Tuesday. And now it's Friday, so it came really quick, and it came from Texas. So this was $33, but we were okay with paying that because it's exactly what we need and some extra. So this is the skipper body, which is the extra. It's one of the nice straight legs, and these were in really good condition.
This is in nice condition.
And I also did look through sold listings, and a lot of times if you buy like vintage bodies, like the old school ones, they're about $15 on the cheaper end each, like with shipping. So I got a lot. Now this still has a head, however this is a twist and turn.
Oh wow, she's gorgeous.
And she's kind of got some of that custard face going, which is in really nice shape. And this is one of the bodies, and all the fingers and toes are intact, and they even have nail polish.
Hubba hubba.
And then this is the other body, and yeah. We don't see these at the flea market really ever, and when we do, people want a lot of money for them. I mean, we saw one time for $10, so these were about $11 each, plus we got the head, if you do the math out that way. So normally I wouldn't pay that much for a body, but I consider these like specialty. So I'm gonna clean them up, and I already have the body for her, and these are like, these bodies aren't the exact ones. They're supposed to say Barbie and Midge for the bubble cut. But these are a little bit older, so they're not the ones with the copper in the feet like found on Barbie #1s. But these are like, I think, the second generation of bodies. So that's what we're gonna do. The leg skipper, who is Colleen's very first vintage doll. Actually the first like 60s doll we ever had. She's on a straight leg body because her original one was missing its feet, and we have yet to find the proper one. But she finally got her original outfit. I'm assuming that was the skipper doll that was in the lot that wasn't there anymore. Now, according to Colleen, one of her friends' family members took some of the dolls off the top of the box that they thought would be like worth something. So I don't know if Skipper was one of those dolls or not. We have her outfit. And then Tammy, this isn't Tammy's original outfit, but I thought this would look a bit nicer than the one she was wearing before from her own lot. And she doesn't smell quite as moldy anymore because she got like another bath. So did Skipper. And this is a really, really nice fashion pack. This is the Jet Set. So this is back to school Barbie before. She's one of the nicer dolls, has her whole outfit. I just undressed them already. There's a lot of potential in her hair. She's really cool. Back to School Barbie after. She had Kanekalon hair, so it cleaned up really nice, and she had her whole outfit. She is mislabeled in the Ultimate Barbie book as being from 1995, if I'm not mistaken, but when I was double checking her contents on eBay, I realized everyone was calling her 92, and I did find pictures of the box date, so she is actually from 92 in case you have that book. And Hawaiian Fun Barbie. She's in pretty nice shape. She is not too thin looking in the hair department, so that's promising. Then we have Hawaiian Fun Barbie. She had really bad hair. I boil washed her probably 6 to 8 times. I had to gel her again too because she just still has little split bits, but I can't trim all of them off because her hair's pretty thin, but it's not like bad enough where she's body donor worthy or anything. And she had her swimsuit. Gymnast Barbie. She has a lot of her outfit as well. These disgusting people hair elastics have to go. She's actually pretty tight too, considering. This is Gymnast Barbie. I braided her hair because I thought it would look really cute. She is my nicest Gymnast Barbie by far. I didn't realize I had her pants in storage because they look longer in the box than how these pants look off the doll, but when I was editing some footage of me pulling her out of the box and I saw the pants, I'm like, no, those have to be the right ones, and we had another pair. So my old Gymnast Barbie, one of them, got pants too. Sharon's sister from 92. We just got one of these recently. Her ends are looking a little rough, but whoever owned these dolls braided their hair and styled it to keep it nice. Sharon's sister Barbie after. So she has her whole outfit, and her saran hair was kind of beat up, so I had to do some of that trimming, and she had to get 2 boil washes, but I love her, and she is just as pretty as my boxed one, just not as in nice shape. Rollerblade Barbie. She's actually probably nicer than the 2 I already have. They were really TLC dolls. Rollerblade Barbie after. She was a labor of love. She had her outfit, but I did use that fabric paint in an earlier clip. Even though I washed it after, it's still really stiff. I don't know if maybe I put too much on, but honestly, to me, it doesn't like feel any different than if you just watered down some acrylic paint and put it on. So I might have to experiment a bit more with it and see if maybe there's a better way of applying it. But I'm glad it definitely provided more coverage. And I made her these ridiculous earrings. And her hair I boil washed quite a few times. She was a little bit problematic. A lot of these dolls were the ones with saran hair because they were braided, and the child who owned them before was aggressive when it came to brushing their hair. Then we have this fabulous brunette paint and Dazzle. I love brunette paint and Dazzle. She's probably my favorite variant. Her hair is still shiny and it wasn't styled in any way, but it held up nicely nonetheless. And then this is Paint and Dazzle Barbie after. I love the brunette. She's probably my favorite of the set. My other one has Kanekalon hair where she is saran. It's very beautiful. And this is one of the fashion packs we got in this lot. It's a Disney Character Fashions from 1989. My 1962, I believe she's supposed to be a blonde bubble cut, but oh, behold the filth on her legs. I don't know how well the camera is catching it, but she's gnarly. Poor thing. And her face paint, though, is pretty nice. Like, I would say it's like 85 to 90% there. That's very impressive considering her age. And this is my bubble cut after. I'm pretty sure she's supposed to be one of the blondes because I have a redhead bubble cut and her hair is a lot more red. We named her Kathy because Kathy is the name of the friend who saved these dolls, and I thought that would be a nice little tribute. So I did have to touch up the paint on her eyelids and a little bit on her lips, but I literally just put a teeny bit of pastel there, and it looks shinier because I resealed everything. I do that with really old dolls if I have to touch up the paint. And she did have her swimsuit. It's not in the best shape, but she has it, and she is missing a pinky, but that's alright. I love her. She was definitely one of my favorite finds. Then we have Squirrel Ponytail, who does not have a body. Obviously, these dolls weren't rooted much. You can see she literally has no plugs except the perimeter. So for everyone who thinks 60s Barbies were better in every way than the modern Barbie, you can't make blanket statements like that because this doesn't really happen often these days. So luckily, I have red hair for a skipper project, for Colleen's little red straight leg skipper. So it worked out. We thought she was brunette at first, and then I'm like, no, she's kind of too light. But you can see most of her face paint's there. Her eyebrows need some work, but I've always wanted an actual vintage Swirl, so. And then we have Miss Swirl. She is one of my favorite makeovers of all time. So this is the body we got her. Of course, we had to dress her up in Silken Flame and Red Flare. My bubble cut used to wear this. And I rerouted her with, this is Copper Tidian number 16, I think, from Restore Doll. It's Saran. And I didn't add any plugs around her because I didn't want her ponytail to be too bulky. It was kind of like with Skipper. I wanted to keep the essence of what they were supposed to look like. So she is still bald in the center, and I did have to touch up some of her paint, but I'm really proud of how she turned out. I mean, it's not perfect, but I think considering I never tried to do like a vintage hairstyle over again, and I had to reroute her and some of her plugs split in a lot of places, and considering just what she looked like before, I'm really glad I saved her. I wanted a Swirl since we first got the Ultimate Barbie book and I found out they existed. That's why I bought, my dad bought me the reproduction student teacher because I was so in love with Swirl. Magic Moves Barbie. This is one of the sad ones. This is where, one of the reasons we named this lot what we did. I don't know if I'm going to be able to fix her body. I can see where it broke, but I'm not entirely sure if maybe her arm locked up in some way. I don't know, but we're gonna do our best. She's got some weird schmutz on her legs, but her hair looks pretty nice, so we're gonna see what we can do for her. Either way, we'll probably be able to get her a nice body. Then we have Magic Moves Barbie. Sadly, her body was not salvageable. I tried a few things to fix her arm, and I do still have the body because I'm gonna crack it open and kind of see more about the internal workings of a Barbie, but even so, cracking open bodies usually damages them in some way. I had a friend repair my Cara and she cracked open. That's why I couldn't fix her that way again, because she would have literally snapped in half, and that body is like really one of a kind. So she's just on a regular body until we can get a Magic Moves one, and it's fine. That mechanism didn't work anyways, so what was the point in her having a gimpy arm? And her hair cleaned up nice. She had a few boil washes because we tried her on a few different body donor, and so she had to get reheated again. And there's this really cute outfit. She's my 6th Magic Moves Barbie. Believe it or not, I have a lot. My sister Skipper, Colleen, recently got a box version of this doll in the fall. She was clearly taken well care of. She just seen better days. Then we have Sharon's sister Skipper. So this is a shirt we actually had in storage that we got in like 2012. So she was the only one missing her shirt. We didn't get Stacy in the lot, but Stacy would have had her whole outfit. This poor thing is Hollywood Hair Skipper. I think she's going to be nicer than the one Colleen already has because she has a lot of hair and it looks like it was kept pretty nice. Colleen's other doll has sort of limp saran hair, and this is a good indication if your doll's been body swapped or if you can fix them, if you can hear the ball rolling around, because if they're on a body but they have a ball rolling around, that means they broke off their original. And you can see her neck's a little chipped, so it'll need some repair. Then we have Hollywood Hair Skipper. She was one of the nasty ones to work with. She needed her neck repaired. This is her original body. You can see she kind of has like a little bit of separation right here. I boil washed her again, like, I don't know, like 8 times.
Can I just say wow?
I know. So a lot of times with my finished products, I don't think people realize like just how much work goes into them. Like one boil wash is a lot of the times not enough on its own if the doll was really played with. And she has her whole outfit. Then we have another Hawaiian Fun Skipper. This is a very popular Skipper doll. She also has a ball. Her hair looks pretty nice though. However, I don't know what happened, but her neck is squalid and the inside of her head is also like black. It's not moldy, it's just dirty. It's disgusting. Then we have Hawaiian Fun Skipper. So she actually, I'm surprised, she only needed one boil wash and her hair was perfect. Like, she's really nice. And she's not like overly thickly rooted like some of Colleen's other Hawaiian Funs, and she had her outfit. Poor Wedding Eric has a very common problem with the Tycho dolls. You can see his joint snapped off. So I can see in that respect why, with all of these broken body parts, someone might have thought they were trash. However, this is actually a pretty easy fix. I've fixed a lot of dolls with this problem. Tycho Eric is feeling good about himself. He has both his legs attached. Now, this leg was a pain in the butt to reattach. The first time I went to put it back on, one of the little flaps that goes over the joint wasn't pulled back in place because I had so much trouble getting it out. So when I went to put his leg back on, I had to use extra pressure and it ended up snapping his little joint in half. So I had to re-glue it, but he's all together now, and he has a fabulous touched up paint, and it's not sticky, it's just like really shiny. Then we have Classics Aladdin. He is one of the original variations. He's from Malaysia. The later ones were China, so they were all dated the same on the box, but the releases are subtly different. So he had like the color change lamp and the pixie vest. And he's actually really nice, so you're not going to see much of a transformation here. Then we have Classics Aladdin. He is handsome. He's nicer than Frank, who is our childhood repurchased Classics Aladdin that we got used. Everything about him is really high color. Magic Carpet Gift Set Aladdin is also really nice. He's the nicest one probably from the whole lot. So we have Magic Carpet Gift Set Aladdin. He doesn't look much different because, you know, he just needed his clothes washed. Glitter Beach Ken is one of the luckier man dolls. He is intact. And he has his outfit. I love his two-toned hair. Then we have Glitter Beach Ken. As I suspected when I was going through their clothes and I saw these pants, he even has a little pendant. Colleen was really excited to get him. Rocket Surprise Ken. He's awesome. I love his outfit. He does have it. And he also has really cool two-toned hair. And he's Rocket Surprise Ken. He had his whole outfit. I was really excited to find all of these pieces. Never would have guessed this jacket was for Ken. It's very girly. Colleen, what do you think?
I think he's spectacular. I've always wanted a Rocket Surprise Ken, but I must say, I thought this top was like for Barbie at first.
It's very girly. And Jules Secrets Ken. I have a few of these guys, and this leg problem is very common on this mold. This is why my childhood, we believe it was Crystal Ken, got thrown out. He was used and his legs popped off all the time. So this is a fix. I'm just glad all of the parts to those dolls that were missing limbs were there, because then I can fix them. Jewel Secrets Ken, he has to lay down because even though I did reattach his legs, they're very floppy and they do tend to pop in and out on their own. So they go right back on really easily, but he was clearly very played with, and we happened to have this jumpsuit in storage. It came with one of our guys from charity store, but he got a nicer outfit upgrade, and then this was his jacket that was in the bin. I'm assuming he was probably bought secondhand, but I did a lot of repair. I did repair all of the clothes in this lot. It took me about an hour and a half to do it, but I tried to do that. This is 1986 Rockers Diva Aditi. I have the 85 version, and I love finding like both versions of the Rocker Friends. Her hair is pretty matted looking, but I can tell that it's going to clean up wonderfully because it clearly wasn't brushed. It was obviously not touched, so that's kind of best case scenario for this hair type. Then we have Rockers Dee Dee from 1986. I gave her the most spoiled washes. I want to say I gave her about 10 because she has this really curly hair, and it was just in really bad shape upon closer inspection. She had a lot of bits that needed to be trimmed, and it might look wet here, but that's just how shiny it is. That's how much work I put into it to make it that shiny. So I'm really, really pleased with the way she turned out, and I think she's actually even prettier than my other version of Dee Dee. Then we have Wig Wardrobe Midge, who was not sold with a body, but we hope to change that, right, Midgie? Not much of a transformation in terms of hair, because, like, hey, she's molded. But she does have these 3 wigs. Her in the first wig. This is actually in pretty nice shape. Her in the second wig. Also very shiny, considering the age of this. And I think this one looks pretty good on her. And then this third wig, which I don't know is Midge's look, and it's in the worst shape, but it'll clean up nicely. Then we have Wig Wardrobe Midge. So we got her body on eBay, as you saw earlier, and we had a lot of trouble deciding what to dress her in because she kind of looks funny without having hair. And I'll put a picture of her wearing all of them in here. I took for Flickr. Then we have Classics Belle. She's got pretty nice hair. She's one of the better dolls from this lot in terms of condition. Then we have this beautiful Classics Belle. She had really nice Kanekalon hair, and this was the dress that came with her. She also had her other dress too, but this one was slightly nicer. I love her. I love this facial screening. This was the face on the Village Bells we had as kids. And then this is Magic Carpet Gift Set Jasmine. She's got some thin hair plugs over here, and this kind of sad looking braid, but she's still beautiful. Magic Carpet Gift Set Jasmine. She was a labor of love. Her outfit's pretty picked at, so I definitely have no regrets about buying my other set on eBay. And I mean, I had my other set for 8 years, so it would have taken me 8 years to get this set together. Her hair, she was missing a lot, so I did a partial reroute on her. Like, it was pretty much all of these plugs over here, and then the row behind them, I filled them in. Even if they were just thin plugs, I added to them. I had some leftover hair from partially rerouting other Jasmine dolls, and it made a world of difference. You can't even tell that, like, that's not original hair. It only took me 20 minutes to do it, too, so. And she needed a lot of split end trimming, but she looks gorgeous. She even has her shoes. Classic Snow White. She is one of the saran-haired ones, which is nice. I prefer the saran-haired ones to the Kanekalon. It just sits better. And that's Snow White. This is Snow White after. She is an amazing specimen. She even had her shoes. Actually, I reunited one of her shoes with its mate. But she had her sleeves, her cape. So we have this lovely twist and turn who came in the body lot that we bought off eBay for Midge and Miss Swirl. So I took her off that body. So this is what she would look like without any kind of makeover. Her hair's in pretty nice shape. And then this is the twist and turn who was on the vintage bodies. We had this body in storage. It's gonna need, she's gonna need an upgrade at some point because these toes are a little chewed, but it's the proper body. She is discolored, but that's alright. I did have to touch up a little bit of her lip paint because she had a pretty noticeable spot on it. But other than that, I mean, she is really nice. I think she's adorable. We have 2 bonus dolls for the video because we had to go out and get, some fabric paint and some more Ziplocs for the dolls in this video. And when we were out, we stopped at the Salvation Army, and I was surprised they had dolls there, and they had 2 Hunger Games. So this is Mockingjay Part 2 Katniss, and they were $2 each, but as you can see, she has like her whole little outfit there. And then this is Mockingjay Part 2 Katniss. I rebraided her hair after giving her a bath, and this is a pain in the butt to take off, but you can do it. It's just a pain in the butt. She's really awesome. I love how like dark she looks. This is Catching Fire Katniss. I mean, she's not really gonna look much different. I am gonna wash her hair and stuff, but keep it in the braid. She's sewn into this outfit, but you can see where like they had added the threads, and I'm gonna add snaps, and the reason why it's already cut is because I needed to look at her body info. Katniss is very special to me because, believe it or not, my very first store-bought Barbie when I got back into collecting, there were 2 of them. I got my Dolls of the World India Barbie from 2011, and then that same night we went back to Kmart and I bought Katniss, and she was actually the original one. She wasn't even on sale. I just really, really loved her. I thought she was beautiful. I've never read The Hunger Games or watched The Hunger Games. It's not really my kind of thing. But I love the dolls, so I was so excited when I saw 2 of them. Colleen said my face lit up. Then we have Catching Fire Katniss. She doesn't look any different. This is still her original style. I just washed it and conditioned it. And I did sew a snap on the back of her outfit here so I can take her in and out of the outfit. So thank you guys all so much for watching. These dolls will eventually be on my Flickr little by little. The duplicates are already replaced, but we might not have written about them just yet because of how I like replace photos and things. So I hope you enjoy, and if you're looking to know more about any of the techniques used in this video, check out my tips and tutorials playlist. I'll have put a card in the video at some point. And until next time, love your dolls, love yourself, and love your life.